Welcome to Scout's Eye with Bryan Broaddus, former Super Bowl winning NFL scout Bryan Broaddus. I'm Bobby Belt, Dallas Cowboys insider for 105 Through the Fan in Dallas. So, Bryan, we got the first preseason game out of the way for the Dallas Cowboys last Saturday. They fall in this one 28-23 to the Jaguars, but we're not so much concerned with the results of these games as we are individual evaluations. And one of the areas that I think we both feel like there was a lot of positives coming out of this game was the linebacker group. Let's jump in just right off the top with Damon Clark, a guy who it feels miraculous that he even played last season. But let's talk about how Damon Clark looked in this game, because I thought he was one of the real positive highlights.
Yeah, you mentioned the linebackers, Bobby, and the guys have done a really nice job in training camp. The practices in Oxnard have been very positive for those guys. Here they are now have an opportunity in the first preseason game, and we're seeing why that the coaches are putting faith in Damon Clark, and then with Overshown, guys like that getting opportunity. It's a nice thing to see these young guys go out there, take the bull by the horns, go make plays, don't have any major busts or any problems like that, don't short circuit, just very positive, very steady performers as a group in that game against the Jaguars.
I was not as high on DeMarvion Overshown, who you mentioned there, as some others were. And I'm a Texas Longhorns fan, and I still was a little miffed by the pick, I guess. I thought of him as an early day 3 guy, but this is why the scouting staff gets paid the way they do, is because they identify these guys that are really talented. And DeMarvion Overshown is somebody who has checked every box during this process in terms of, the OTA minicamp, the practices, into the padded practices, now into this game where he stands up Tank Bigsby in the hole. That's a big running back who makes his money, being a really physical runner. But DeMarvion Overshown, a guy who it's showing up on the practice field, it's showing up in the locker room, it's showing up on the sidelines as a leader. Just everything you're hearing about him right now, he seems to be everything the Cowboys wanted when they picked him at number 90.
Yeah, I think you got him absolutely right, Bobby. I mean, I know that it's funny when you go through these, when you watch your university play these games, you kind of feel like you have an idea of where these guys are. Myself with Clark and with Cox, you with Overshown. The one thing with Overshown that I was super impressed was his ability to fit. You mentioned when he was able to take on Tank Bigsby in the hole right there. He didn't overrun the play. He was square to the line. He saw the opportunity. He knew it was a short yardage defense. He didn't give any ground. He was able to step up, make a physical play, and more importantly, make a physical finish in order to get them off the field.
Yeah, Overshown was somebody who, really impressed me. We obviously know Overshown and Clark were kind of the headliners at the linebacker position in terms of their quality of play on Saturday against the Jaguars. But I know you also felt like Devin Harper showed up, the second-year linebacker from Oklahoma State, a very athletic, talented linebacker who, was a little banged up last year, but somebody who played well in this game against Jacksonville.
Yeah, there's some times where he, with the 9-on-7, very early in padded practices when we were in Oxnard, Bobby, where he wasn't very good. But yesterday, he was able to overcome some of the things. The one thing the kid can do is he can run. His ability to play sideline to sidelines, he's a downhill player. He can be physical. Those were some things that he didn't really show in that first 9-on-7 padded practice. But in the game, he was able to show that his ability to play with his hands, get off blocks, get downhill, be around the ball, and finish. Again, the linebackers as a whole, if I could use one word, it was finish. Those guys did a tremendous job with the way that they were able to finish those plays.
And these 3 guys we just highlighted here, Damon Clark, DeMarvion Overshown, Devin Harper, and we obviously know about what kind of an athlete Leighton Vander Esch and Micah Parsons are. The Cowboys clearly have a type at linebacker. They love these freak athletes. Just last few seconds here, overall takeaways from Jabriel Cox, how he performed.
Yeah, I think Jabriel Cox, and unfortunately Malik Jefferson sustained a foot injury. Me personally, as a guy, the former personnel guy, I want to see Jabriel Cox get more opportunity, maybe with Malik Jefferson kind of having to maybe sit out a few practices, maybe even have to sit out a game. I'd like to see Jabriel Cox get some of those reps. They were in a 4th down situation in this game yesterday, and he was able to come through and get some pressure on the quarterback there, force an errant throw. So those are the kinds of things that he's capable of, though. Can't be a player that's take one step forward and two step back. That's kind of been his description from people in the organization that have coached him, that known him. And let's see if he can, in fact, just be a more consistent player like the players we talked about previously.
We will have more thoughts, more takeaways from former Super Bowl winning NFL scout Bryan Broaddus after the Seahawks game coming up this weekend. Until then, you can find more of his thoughts on Twitter at Bryan Broaddus. Bryan, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Bobby.